Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Deep Dive. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button and click the bell icon so you don't miss out on any future deep dives.
That's right.
Today we are going deep on a topic crucial for, well, everyone, really.
Definitely.
From those UPSC aspirants to, students or anyone who breathes air and drinks water. We're talking pollution.
It's everywhere.
It is, and we're not just going to skim the surface here.
No.
We are going to unpack all those different types, try to understand the impacts, and even look at some potential solutions.
Some of them are pretty interesting.
Yeah, especially this cool concept called bioremediation.
It really is amazing.
So the source material defines pollution in a really simple way.
Straightforward.
It's just anything harmful added to the environment.
Pretty much.
Sounds simple enough, right?
Yeah.
But that's where it gets interesting.
It does.
The sheer variety is mind-blowing.
Yeah.
Air, water, soil, noise, even light pollution.
You name it.
It's like a buffet of environmental woes.
It's sad, but true. And what's often overlooked is how interconnected all these different types of pollution are.
Right.
It's not just isolated incidents, the whole web of consequences. Like, imagine industrial waste contaminating the soil.
Okay.
Well, that contamination doesn't just stay put. It can seep into the groundwater, polluting drinking water sources, which then impacts marine life, and then ultimately disrupts the entire food chain.
Whoa, it's like a real domino effect.
It is.
Okay, so let's zoom in on air pollution, a hot topic, especially, I think, for those UPSC exams.
For sure.
We've all heard of smog, that notorious mix of smoke and fog, but did you know there are different types?
There are.
There's the London smog, kind of the sulfurous kind, and then there's the Los Angeles smog, which is photochemical.
That's right.
And it's not just smog either.
No.
We've also got to consider particulate matter, those tiny, tiny particles, especially the infamous PM 2.5.
Yeah.
These are so small they can, lodge deep in our lungs, causing all sorts of respiratory problems.
Absolutely.
The source material actually highlights that in India, industries are the biggest culprits here,
Really?
contributing to over 50% of the air pollution.
That's a lot.
It's pretty alarming, especially when you think about those long-term health impacts.
Yeah.
But the source material also mentions black carbon,
Right.
which I found fascinating. What is that all about?
Well, black carbon is a component of soot produced from incomplete combustion.
Okay.
Now, what makes it fascinating and also troubling is its ability to travel vast distances.
Oh, wow.
We're talking impacting weather patterns and even, accelerating glacier melt far from its source.
So it's kind of a global issue then.
It is. It's a powerful climate warming agent.
Okay, so air pollution is a global issue.
Yeah.
It's not just about, what's happening in our immediate surroundings.
Right.
But surely there are efforts to combat this, right?
Absolutely. India, for instance, has taken some significant steps. They skipped BSV emission standards and went straight to BSVI in 2020, which is a huge leap forward in controlling, vehicle emissions.
That's pretty impressive.
It is. And then there's the National Air Quality Index, or NAQI for short.
Okay.
This provides real-time information to the public, making everyone more aware of the air they're breathing.
Right. Knowledge is power, as they say.
It is.
But what about concrete actions?
Uh-huh.
Are there any initiatives that are actually, trying to reduce pollution levels?
Definitely.
Okay.
There's the Graded Response Action Plan, or GRP.
Okay.
It outlines the steps to be taken as pollution levels rise, kind of like a pollution emergency plan.
Like a plan of action.
Right. And then there's this fascinating project, a green wall being built along the Ara Valley Range.
A green wall?
Yeah.
What is that?
It's to combat those massive dust storms.
A wall of trees or something.
Yeah, exactly.
That sounds pretty epic.
It is.
It's good to see these initiatives tackling the problem from various angles. But I guess air pollution is just one piece of the puzzle.
It is.
Let's shift gears and dive into water pollution.
Okay.
This is where the impact of human activities becomes really clear.
It does.
Think agricultural runoff, untreated sewage, industrial waste. It all ends up contaminating our rivers, our lakes, our oceans.
Absolutely.
And I'm guessing this has some pretty dire consequences for aquatic life.
It does. One of the key things that happens is a decrease in dissolved oxygen.
Okay.
This is coupled with an increase in BOD, which stands for biochemical oxygen demand.
The UV. Okay.
Essentially, it's a measure of how much organic waste is in the water.
So the more organic waste, the higher the BOD, and the less oxygen for fish and other aquatic creatures to breathe.
Precisely. It's like suffocating the life out of our water bodies.
Wow.
And then there's eutrophication.
Okay.
This is caused by excess nutrients, things like nitrates and phosphates, often from, fertilizers and sewage runoff. This triggers these massive algal blooms, which then deplete the oxygen, creating what are known as dead zones
Oh, wow.
in our oceans and lakes.
It's crazy.
It's a chain reaction with devastating consequences.
It really is. The source material also mentions something called tubifex worms.
Oh, yeah.
These creatures that can survive in highly polluted water.
Uh-huh.
It's amazing how some organisms can adapt to such harsh conditions.
It is, but their presence is actually a warning sign.
Oh, really?
Yeah, tubifex worms are what we call indicator species.
Okay.
They signal just how bad the pollution has become.
Interesting.
And then there's biomagnification,
Okay.
where toxins like mercury accumulate and become more concentrated as they move up the food chain.
So a small fish eats tiny bits of contaminated food,
Yeah.
and a bigger fish eats a bunch of those smaller fish, and so on, until eventually we're the ones consuming those concentrated toxins.
Exactly.
That's a scary thought.
Yeah. It is. And the health implications are very real. The source material links water pollution to diseases like Minamata disease, blue baby syndrome, and even skeletal fluorosis.
Wow.
It's a stark reminder that the health of our environment is intrinsically linked to our own health.
It really is. It's a sobering thought, that something as essential as water can become so harmful.
Yeah.
But the source material doesn't just focus on the problems.
No.
It also dives into solutions.
Yeah.
And there's one that really caught my eye. Bioremediation. It sounds almost futuristic,
Uh-huh.
like using nature to clean up our mess.
It might sound like something out of a sci-fi movie,
Yeah.
but bioremediation is a very real and promising approach. Essentially, it's harnessing the power of nature to heal itself.
Wow.
We're talking about using living organisms,
Right.
bacteria, fungi, even plants to remove or neutralize pollutants.
So there's like deploying a microscopic cleanup crew.
Exactly. And the
Yeah.
methods are incredibly diverse.
Oh, wow.
One technique is biosparging, where air and nutrients are injected into the contaminated soil to stimulate microbial activity. Then there's phytoremediation, which uses plants to absorb and accumulate contaminants. They're essentially acting as natural filters.
Wow. Plants as pollution filters.
Yeah.
That's incredible. Are there any other techniques like this?
Oh, there are many.
Wow.
Bioventing is another one. This involves pumping air through contaminated soil to increase oxygen levels, which helps break down certain pollutants.
Okay.
And then there's bioleaching, which uses microorganisms to extract metals from contaminated soil.
It's fascinating how scientists are finding ways to, work with nature instead of against it.
Yeah, it is.
But the source material also mentions something called oil zapper bacteria. Is that for real?
It does.
Bacteria that actually eat oil spills.
It sounds too good to be true, but these oil-eating bacteria are being used to clean up oil spills all around the world. And there's another impressive type called oilivorous S bacteria. This one breaks down hydrocarbons that are found in crude oil and oily sludge.
That's incredible. It's like nature has a solution for almost every problem we create.
Yeah.
But shifting gears a bit, the source material also delves into e-waste,
Uh-huh.
which seems to be a growing concern globally.
It is. E-waste, or electronic waste, is essentially any discarded electrical or electronic device.
Right.
It's becoming a major issue because these devices often contain hazardous materials like lead, mercury, and cadmium.
And those heavy metals can have, serious health consequences if they leak into the environment.
Absolutely. Lead can damage the nervous system,
Oh.
mercury can impair brain development, and cadmium can accumulate in the kidneys, causing all sorts of problems.
Wow.
The source material goes into detail about the specific health effects of various e-waste constituents.
Yeah.
It's quite alarming.
It's definitely a wake-up call to think about how we dispose of our old electronics, what can be done to address this e-waste challenge.
Well, India has implemented the e-waste management rules in 2016. These rules aim to regulate the handling and disposal of e-waste. A key aspect is the concept of extended producer responsibility,
Okay.
meaning producers are responsible for collecting and disposing of their products at the end of their life cycle.
So it's like a cradle-to-grave approach for electronics.
Exactly. And the rules also promote the establishment of e-waste collection centers
Okay.
and encourage the recycling of valuable materials from discarded electronics.
It's good to know that there are steps being taken to tackle this issue.
Yeah,
The source material also highlights plastic pollution,
right.
which seems like another major environmental challenge we're facing.
It is. Plastic pollution is everywhere.
Yeah.
From the macroscopic level of plastic bags and bottles clogging our waterways to the microscopic level of microplastics.
Microplastics. I've heard the term, but what exactly are they?
Microplastics are tiny plastic particles, less than 5 millimeters in length, that result from the breakdown of larger plastic items. They're found in everything from cosmetics and clothing to industrial processes. And they're a major concern because they can be ingested by marine life
Right.
and eventually end up in our food.
It's disturbing to think we might be consuming these tiny plastic particles without even realizing it. What can we do to address this plastic pollution crisis?
Well, awareness is crucial.
Okay.
Reducing our reliance on single-use plastics, choosing reusable alternatives, and properly disposing of plastic waste are all important steps. And there are initiatives like the Global Tourism Plastics Initiative, led by the UN Environment Program,
Okay.
which are encouraging businesses and governments to take concrete action to reduce plastic pollution.
It's encouraging to see these global efforts taking shape. But the source material also touches on radioactive pollution,
Uh-huh.
which feels a bit more niche but still has serious implications.
It does. Radioactive pollution occurs when radioactive substances are released into the environment, whether from nuclear power plants, mining operations, or accidents like the Chernobyl disaster.
And consequences can be severe, right?
Absolutely. Exposure to radiation can cause genetic mutations, cancer, and various other health problems.
Uh-huh.
And radioactive material can persist in the environment for hundreds of years, posing a long-term threat to ecosystems and human health.
It's a stark reminder of the potential risks associated with nuclear technology. Finally, the source material mentions light pollution, which might seem harmless compared to these other forms of pollution.
Yeah.
But it still has impacts on both humans and the environment.
It does. Light pollution is excessive or misdirected artificial light, especially at night.
Okay.
It can disrupt sleep patterns, interfere with wildlife behavior, and even wash out the beauty of the night sky, making it difficult to observe stars.
It's something we often take for granted. But natural darkness is essential for both human well-being and the health of our ecosystems. This has been quite a deep dive into the world of pollution. From smog-filled cities to plastic-choked oceans to the invisible threats of radioactive contamination, it's clear that pollution is a complex issue with far-reaching consequences. It can feel overwhelming, all this talk of pollution.
Yeah.
But it's not a hopeless situation.
No, not at all.
As we've, kind of explored, there are solutions out there.
Yeah, for sure.
Both technological advancements and I think, changes in our own behavior
Absolutely.
that can really help us mitigate this problem and pave the way for, a cleaner and healthier planet.
Definitely.
And what's been really encouraging for me, I think, is this potential of bioremediation. It's inspiring to see how we can, leverage the power of nature to address the damage we've inflicted.
It's like working with nature instead of against it. It offers a real glimmer of hope, a testament to nature's resilience and our capacity to, innovate and find solutions that actually work in harmony with the environment.
Exactly. So for all our listeners out there, from those UPSC aspirants to, concerned citizens, remember that knowledge is power.
Absolutely.
The more we understand about these different types of pollution, their sources and their impacts, the better equipped we are to make, informed decisions in our daily lives.
Every little bit helps.
Yeah.
It's about taking those small but significant steps, choosing eco-friendly products, reducing our reliance on single-use plastics, supporting sustainable practices,
Right.
and advocating for policies that prioritize environmental protection.
And that's really what this deep dive has been all about, empowering you with the knowledge to act.
That's right.
We hope you found this, exploration of pollution informative and insightful. And for all our listeners, thank you for joining us on this journey.
Thank you.
Remember, even small actions can make a big difference when it comes to protecting our planet.
That's true.
Stay curious, stay informed, and stay engaged in this fight for a sustainable future.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Until next time, keep diving deep.